falls in line with the first video we saw today. Because it poses the question, why do people like anime girls? And so this kind of dovetails into the first Red video.
Cheer 100. I appreciate you, Ember. I've gotta lurk and work on stuffs, so I gotta mute your stream. But I just wanted to let you know that I think you are amazing and your content is great.
Thank you, Fallen. Thank you. Well, okay, Johnny, that's too easy of an answer. What? Let's see what Pax Tube thinks is why people like anime girls. Let's find out.
Is an anime girl. To the average observer, this may look like just another animated character. But what if I told you that characters like this have been reaching international popularity? Whether you're from Japan or not, the odds are that you yourself have seen someone online using an anime girl as an avatar. In this video on Pax Tube, we're here to find out why these characters are so well liked. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about anime.
And let's also give it the benefit of the doubt that it's not just simply because they're pretty cute, hot, sexy, idealized women. Let's go on the assumption that this is going to go beyond that very simple explanation. Okay?
Specifically, the anime and manga industry produced by Japan. This art industry has become very popular around the world, especially on the internet. Unlike Western animation, which typically gears itself toward children, the anime industry targets a wide variety of age demographics. Thus, you'll find fans who are adults and teenagers alike. In recent years, Western companies have even attempted live-action adaptations of anime.
Okay, and I was gonna say, two absolutely disastrous results. Like, yeah, the Netflix Death Note, from what I've heard, I've never seen either of these. Ow! Fucking cat! I've never seen any of these live-action remakes. And I don't think I ever will. Because I've seen the original animes. You cannot live-action these. You cannot. I have, from what I've heard, the Ghost in the Shell one was not as bad as the Death Note one. I heard that the Netflix Death Note was really fucking bad. Like, they seriously fucked with the lore and the story, and they completely just screwed up Death Note with Netflix's live-action version of this. Like, really bad. Like, they like, to the point that they even grotesquely changed the ending. Now, I do know that they did make an act that they did in Japan make a live-action version of Death Note as well. That I did hear about that. That you know, Japan has actually made more than a few live-action versions of some of the most popular anime. They've done Death Note. I think they've done Bleach. I know they've done Attack on Titan. And they probably didn't do well. I think they just did it because it's expected. Yeah, well, Potato, that's the thing. Like, this, number one, it flew under the radar, and it was so poorly received that nobody talks about it. Except to say that it sucked. So, the Ghost in the Shell one, this one had a Hollywood budget. It had Scarlett Johansson as Kusanagi. But it still was criticized. You know, this Ghost in the Shell remake is probably where the whitewashing thing started in
Netflix
big
Death
time.
Note, instead of Elle liking sweets as a quirky character trait, they made it some BS medical condition. Willem Dafoe's
Really?
Ryuk was the only good choice. Cheer 100.
Yeah, I heard about William Dafoe voicing Rook, and That I do think probably was a good choice. Yeah, they fucked up L, they fucked up Light. They made they I think they even screwed up the Death Note itself. Like they just Netflix did what Western Hollywood always does is they take a very successful Japanese anime and say we've got to make it for the modern Western audience, which is a fucking horrible idea because the modern Western audience already likes the anime and they don't want it different. Well, yeah, Red Bass. I mean, the whole thing about Scarlett Johansson, casting her was whitewashing. This was, again, activists basically saying, oh, we're going to be offended about something. That's. Which potato? Which are you talking about, Ghost in the Shell or Netflix, or Death Note? Because with Death Note, like, I never saw it. I'd seen reviews of it. I never actually saw Death Note, and I was broad stroking the shit going on with Death Note. Oh, that they think they. Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, potato, like, any established. This is the problem with Hollywood. Is that when you have a popular established franchise, they think that they basically see dollar signs. They go, let's throw a Hollywood amount of money at it and make it a big movie or a big series. When it originally came out, it was a smaller scale series. And they see it's popular, so hey, the kids like this, don't they? Let's throw a shit ton of money at it and make a movie or a Netflix or a Disney series about it, and we'll make a load of money because we have a fan base baked into it. And it's like they don't actually understand what made the anime popular in the first place. They're only seeing dollar signs. That's why I've said they need to leak. That's why I've said, like, when it comes to comic book movies, DC needs to basically leave the live action alone and stick to fucking animation because they can do it well, and it's received very well.
In recent years, Western companies have even attempted live-action adaptations of anime, with not much success, to put it lightly. But the rise of popularity of anime in the West is worthy of investigation, and it leads us to some telling conclusions. A key factor that stands out in anime's success is its female characters, who garner fan bases in and of themselves. The term waifu, a variation of the word wife, is used commonly in anime circles to refer to one's favorite female character. It's become obvious at this point that anime girls have a special charm that viewers in the West are picking up on. Firstly, appearance.
Okay, I am gonna say one thing here. The term waifu is, typically speaking, I know there are aberrations to this, but typically speaking, waifu is only usually used with female anime characters that are of age. The underage female characters are typically not ascribed as being waifus because the concept of waifu is wife. So yes, some do. I'm not saying that there are people that don't ascribe waifu to underage female characters. I know they do. But generally speaking, in the day and age, waifu is typically associated with a female character that is considered an adult age. Because it's like, I want to make this anime character my wife. So, with the, tough choice. Well, Potato Bell Dandy is wonderful. I think I'm gonna say Rias. Bell Dandy is an absolute sweetheart. And I love Bell Dandy as a character, but Rias has that same kindness.
People call anime as pedo bait. but with no knowledge of how anime works, and how other cultures works.
Oh, that's a whole other thing, Rebel Spartan. That's a whole other thing. Uh, I would say Rias. Yeah, I would say, because Rias, like, I've only seen the anime, but Rias had that kindness. She was incredibly kind and sweet, but she could also be sexy. And she could also kick ass. So I would absolutely consider, I think Rias would be more of a waifu for me than Belldandy. Mm-hmm.
Now, the most common explanation of why anime girls are popular is that they're cute. And that's very true. These characters
Yeah.
are professionally designed to be feminine and attractive. There are entire animation methods devoted to their styles. The physical traits that are highlighted in anime include flowing hair, large and detailed eyes, and slim or curvaceous bodies. These features are highlighted because they're widely accepted as beautiful. Some might argue that beauty is subjective, but let's face it, they're ultimately physical.
Let's see. Female attractiveness was significantly and positively predicted by femininity and negatively by adiposity. Okay. Studies have shown that there's surprising agreement about what makes a face attractive. Symmetry is at the core, along with youthfulness, clarity or smoothness of skin, and vivid colors, say, in eyes and hair. And that right there, the hair part, would explain why they consider attract. Like, you have vibrant, differently colored hairs. Why you have the cotton candy pinks, the vibrant reds, the oceanic blues. You know, that makes sense when you look at this. That vivid colors equate to attractiveness.
Traits that people are biologically wired to be attracted to. Those creating anime do not try to obscure this. It should also be noted that these female designs go hand in hand with clothing that accentuates their feminine features, such as ribbons, bows, or other hair accessories. Meanwhile, some character designs are more childlike, which are intended to trigger protective instincts from the viewer. You could call this the cute or comfy factor. Now, of course, anime doesn't exist in a vacuum, so to understand its ascendancy in the West, we also need to look at what's going on in Western media. In Western media, by contrast, there's been efforts to reduce character designs that even differ.
Oh yeah. Chat. What is this person? If you just looking at this picture, you may or may not have seen this movie. Is this a man or a woman? Can you tell? Can you tell, is this a person a man or a woman? No, it doesn't matter, Rasbassett. This is just a question of curiosity. I know what it was, Aki. I never saw the movie, but I am familiar. Yeah. This is what Hollywood thinks women should look like. Right here. This is what Hollywood thinks women should look like now.
Differentiate between men and women. Some have linked this to the fat acceptance and androgynous movements.
Oh God!
But truthfully, these two movements are simply two branches of the
Wait! Sucking wait. Well, no. Ravenstorm? Do not equate her to Wolverine. Because Wolverine just had literally just had his bones laced with adamantium. The chick from Terminator literally was a cyborg. She was hurt machine. It ain't the same thing. Not even close. That's not even close to being like Wolverine.
Androgynous movements.
What?
But truthfully, these
Chat? What, Jen, my question right now. Is this a man or a woman? And I'm asking this as a legitimate question. Actually, you can't see. Hang on. Hang on. I just realized you guys are in the way. Is this a man or a woman? I can't tell. I legitimately can't tell if this is a man or a woman. That's a man? Okay. Why? Okay. Well, it is a fashion week thing. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
These two movements are simply two branches of the entire source. That source is feminism, which has come to utterly dominate Western media. Hollywood and television studios consistently identify more as feminist and liberal than the general public. This
Stop right there. Hang on, what was this? The theory of political economics said, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna let him say this again, and I'm gonna disagree with it.
Studios which has come to utterly dominate Western media. Hollywood and television studios consistently identify more as feminist and liberal than the general public.
Now, here's what I'm gonna call bullshit. They think they're feminist and liberal. That is the key point there. They call themselves feminists and liberals. But they are not in practice. Because feminists, if you go by the definition, the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes, none of these so-called feminists want equality. Not one of them. I don't care if they want to try and call themselves modern feminists. I don't care. It's not feminism. It's, Atanashi, you called it. It's misandry. Because they're not looking for equality. They're looking to put women into a literal dominant position over men in society. They don't want equality. They want domination. And liberal? Fuck no, they ain't liberal. The term liberal has been completely and utterly bastardized. Kind of like every other label in that political sphere has been completely and utterly bastardized. Yeah, feminism is now nothing more than basically just a shield to hide behind when women or men bash upon men. They use it like a shield, like I'm a feminist. And I'm gonna use this as a means to try and protect myself while I rip the shit out of men for literally no other reason than being born a man. And it's bullshit. And I'm gonna call it as bullshit every time I fucking see it. Because, yeah, modern feminism doesn't exist. Honestly. Well, no. No, sorry. Modern feminism does exist, but it's not called feminism anymore. You wanna know what modern feminism is these days, chat? You wanna know what it is? Being a normal, kind human fucking being. That's what modern feminism is. Being a normal person. People that identify themselves as feminists are misandrists, fascists, and don't actually want equality in any way, shape, or form. They are, as I forget who said that in chat, a couple people probably did, they identify more closely as communists than they do anything else. Because it's, you will do as I say, or we will accuse you of wrongthink, and we will cancel you on Twitter. Which they haven't figured out yet that no one gives a fuck if you get canceled on Twitter. I don't give a fuck if I get canceled on Twitter. You want to cancel me on Twitter, go right the fuck ahead. I don't spend time on Twitter. I don't give a shit what you say about me on Twitter, because you don't matter. Hi, Beep. I'm good. I'm raging. How are you?
This is then reflected in their portrayals of women. In a great irony, feminism rejects the value
God.
of femininity and works instead as a conduit to make females masculine. The biological
Wait, I need to hear that again. Hang on a second.
then reflected in their portrayals of women. In a great irony, feminism rejects the value of femininity and works instead as a conduit to make females masculine. The
That's not feminism. That's basically transgenderism. That's flat out, that's not feminism. To basically try and make females less feminine and more masculine, you're literally trying to transgender females. No, he's cooking. It could be. I mean, he may be calling this out in about 5 seconds. I may just be jumping the gun on him. But I'm sorry, when I hear this shit, I gotta call it the fuck out. I do. Right, and yes, no, don't misunderstand. I don't think that he believes any of this. I know he's not. He's just reporting on it. He's basically iterating what all these publications have said. It's not his opinion of it. I do understand that. He's essentially just reporting. I do know. I understand that. I'm not saying that any of these ideals are his. I know.
biological differences between the sexes are seen not as something to be celebrated, but as obstacles to be destroyed. These natural differences are thus downplayed, and studios put ridiculous efforts into making female characters look and behave like their male counterparts. Things weren't always this way in Western media, but they certainly are now.
I'm gonna say something. Benson, I don't think Benson was a good choice for highlighting this about how they're trying to erase differences between men and women. She was a good female character. She never tried to not be female. Yeah, I feel like this is a bad example. She was a cop and she was a woman, and I'm pretty sure if like there was wasn't there some kind of like an entire plot line for her character in SVU where she was trying to get pregnant or something? Wasn't that like or she did get pregnant and she was worried about how to balance her work with the family? Like, was it? I think that was a thing. I never watched much of SVU at all, but I thought that was a plot thread for her. Yeah, exactly. She had to be tough, but she was never masculine. She never gave up her femininity to be tough. Same thing with Scully. Yeah, when you brought up Scully, Scully never gave up her femininity to do her job with the FBI. There was one about a year of the storyline. Okay, Zax, that's why I thought I heard something about that. So the actress got pregnant while making the show and they incorporated it. Okay, that's clever. Hello, Codeine. So yeah, I think this was not a great choice for a visual example of what he was just referring to, in terms of like men trying to be women. This was a poor example.
Like their male counterparts. Things weren't always this way in Western media, but they certainly are now. Meanwhile, this kind of feminist influence simply does not exist in anime studios, and that's played an enormous part in this contrast of character designs. And beyond just the issue of feminism, a solid portion of the animation that gets propped up by corporations in the West is downright hideous. So it's clear that the physical appearance of anime girls is a main factor that makes them popular in the current West. But I will submit to you that there is an even greater factor at play that goes far deeper than physical appearance. To lead into this, let's look at how Maki from the anime Love Lab responds to receiving a compliment from a boy.
君さ、ちょっと可愛いと思って人のことバカにしてんだろ。 なんだよその反応おかしいだろ
Take note of the traits that are being displayed here.
Kawaii! She's so kawaii!
This leads into the point. Anime girls are liked because of their virtuous and feminine personality traits.
Yeah.
A female character portraying bashfulness like this is common in anime, but all but extinct in Western media. Generally, these characters demonstrate attributes that make them ideal candidates for wives, including loyalty, modesty, and a positive view of marriage and children. It's a common sight in anime, especially in the slice-of-life genre.
You know, I'll make it even simpler. I'll break this down much more simply. Girls in anime look and act like girls. Even when they're a tsundere or a yandere, they still act like girls. They don't act like they don't act like they're trying to be men. Even tomboys still act like girls. Even tomboys in anime, they basically tough girls. And that's where Western does not get it. Because in Western media, a girl, if you act like a girl, it's verboten.
What Hollywood doesn't understand is regardless how a female character looks, if the personality is correct, it can work in the story. Cheer 100.
Yes, Revan, it can, but one big part of the problem is when you have all of your female characters being tough badasses who don't need no man, and who are actually better than the men, and who act like more of a man than the men do because they've cucked all the fucking men, and the men act like the furry gays, like the furry stereotypical gay character, the gay best friend. Yeah, even those looks and the personality don't work. Girlies in anime, even when they're tough, still act like girls. It's a very simple metric that people obviously want, and Hollywood refuses to go back to because I think for a lot of people in Hollywood, it's A, waving the white flag, and they don't want to wave the white flag. Hollywood does not want to be proven wrong on something because Hollywood has this idea that they are oh so virtuous and that they are the virtue keepers of society. And if they admit we were wrong on this or we fucked up on this, i.e., if they admit we were wrong about women not acting like fucking women, it ends the
Cheer
reality.
100. A great example is Saber, a very feminine woman at times who is also a complete butt-kicking beast.
There are dozens of examples in anime of this, that a woman of women that are very feminine, but will kick all the ass. Saber, Rias, Albeto, fuck, I forget her name from Slayers. Lena Inverse and Naga, Misaka, Misaka. I mean, Erza. There are literally endless characters that you can point to and say she's feminine, but she will absolutely kick the fuck out of you if need be. Hollywood, years ago, tried to say, this is wrong, women should act like this, and they don't want to admit that they're wrong. They refuse to admit that they were wrong trying to push this ideology, because Hollywood's always tried to be the ideology trendsetters. Like, back in the day, they would put out movies and stuff, and you know, they would put out a variety of movies that would basically establish the social zeitgeist. and they would and they would literally change perspectives through their films back when movies were actually good. And so the Hollywood industry got it into its head, hey, we can mold and shape society and public opinion. And so over the last 15, 20 years, Fluffy Buddy, we're not even talking about that. We are not even going to talk about that, so don't even worry about it. But for the last 15, 20 some odd years, Hollywood has maintained that ideology of we can change the zeitgeist, we can change society, and we can shape society, but they decided to jump on this train of basically women are not women anymore, women are quasi-men, and basically changing all the... They're trying to flip the fucking script in every way, shape, or form, in terms of sexuality, in terms of gender, in terms of how you perceive the basic fundamentals of what is a man and what is a woman. And people are saying, no, I don't fucking think so. And the Hollywood as an industry can't handle that. They can't handle society actually pushing back on them now. Because for a very long time, society didn't push back, they fell in line. Effectively speaking. Now that the society is pushing back, they don't know how to cope with that. And their only response is to just keep doing it. We've got to try and force it. We've just got to try and force it. And it's not working. And they don't know. I don't think Hollywood as an industry has figured out how to pivot away from it to go back to what people actually liked. Japan, on the other hand, has always known for decades what the audience likes, especially in terms of women. And they actually followed the mantra of, it ain't broke, we're not gonna fix it. And guess what? Anime and manga is more popular than ever, particularly with Western audiences.
Genre to see characters outright fantasize about marriage.
それにこう見えても天文学の前はいいお嫁さんになるのも夢だったから。2人で
お二人の初めての共同作業です。
Characters are written this way intentionally, because not only do these virtues make them good love interests, but they're also admirable traits in and of themselves. I've noticed
I'm gonna slightly disagree. It's not because... One thing that he may bring this up in the video. He may bring this up later in the video, is a lot of I'd say a fair amount of the traits of the female characters in the anime do actually stem from Japanese culture ideology. The female characters wanting to be a wife, that's something that is intrinsic to Japanese culture. A lot of the feminine traits that are appealing to Western audiences is kind of a staple of Japanese culture. And in fact, in point of fact, is like the female characters that stand out and are bombastic and draw a lot of attention is actually, ironically enough, in Japanese culture, is actually kind of undesirable in women. That standing out like that is kind of, in that way, like you would see in anime, is actually, from what I've heard, not all that desirable in real life. So there is that idealization as well with anime and female characters in that respect. But it's interesting, all the debates, the softness, the demureness, the girls like, I always, I want to be a good wife. That comes from Japanese culture in and of itself. And how ironic that the Western audiences what that kind of, they gravitate towards that kind of personality, that kind of ideology. Oh yeah, Brevin, that's what I mean. Japan has held on to its traditionalism far tighter than they have in the West. And what's the end result? The people in the West want that kind of traditional characterization of women. They find it more attractive. And Dennis, thank you for the follow.
Notice that chastity in particular is a value that anime likes to highlight. This applies to both male and female characters, but to avoid going off topic, I'll stick to the females.
Exactly, Revan.
Importantly, even female protagonists that are designed in a sexualized way are written carefully to have these virtues. I may not be a fan of some of these designs because they stride the line towards sexploitation, but their behavior, as I've described, shows that they're...
No, it's not sexploitation. It's fan service. It's ecchi. It is a common fucking staple. Because, you know what? Japanese anime artists are very... it's not sexploitation. You want sexploitation, you go to hentai. It's fan service. It's plain and simple fan service. And no, it's not. It's not always about the monster. You're talking about where, hang on. It's here, I think.
I've noticed that chastity in particular is a value that anime likes to highlight. This applies to both male and female characters, but to avoid going off topic, I'll stick to the...
Yeah, well, it likes to highlight chastity because it presents the female character being chaste is something that makes a man want to, ironically enough, chase. It presents a challenge. And God knows that men love the chase. They love the hunt. And so presenting a chaste female character presents a challenge to men, which, I'm sorry, that is the target audience for many anime. Yes, many women and girls love anime too. No, okay, Rat Bastard, don't confuse chaste with chastity. Don't confuse the two of them. Chastity means that the female character is protecting her virtue with everything she has. Chaste means that she's pure and innocent and not really sure about doing any, and is nervous and bashful about anything romantic or lewd. That's what I refer to as being by chaste, not chastity. So, okay, well, that is your particular flavor that's not something you wish. I'd say a fair number of the audience that love anime do find that attractive. Because let me put it this way. If a particular type of woman, in this specific reason, a chaste woman, was not viewed as desirable or enjoyable to see, they wouldn't keep doing it. And and the animes and mangas themselves would not be as popular as they are with those characters front and center. So while it's certainly not like, granted, I'm not saying like every guy wants these. I'm not blanket statementing like that. There is a large chunk of the viewing audience that do like that.
The females. Importantly, even female protagonists that are designed in a sexualized way are written carefully to have these virtues. I may not be a fan of some of these designs because they stride the line towards sexploitation, but their behavior, as I've described, shows that they're written with nuance. As one example of this...
And again, it's not sexploitation, it's fucking fan service, because you know what? You know what else anime and manga artists know sells? Titties. It's no secret. Hot anime girls with big titties sells product. It's a very simple metric. It's not sexploitation. It's fan service. Sexploitation would be sexploitation is ecchi. And not every anime is ecchi. Yes, there are ecchi anime. But I'm sorry, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a big titty waifu who is sweet and kind and chaste. It just makes her that much more attractive.
In the anime Overlord, the character Albedo is revealed to be a virgin despite her sexualized appearance. It's a rarity to hear a character say something like this outside of anime. Now, these female characterizations draw a stark contrast to not only Western media, but Western society itself. Currently in the West, values like modesty, chastity, and romantic exclusivity are increasingly treated as unnecessary or antiquated. This is
I'm going to take that one step further. They're treated as abhorrent. What he just said, these two characters
are increasing. Values like modesty, chastity, and romantic exclusivity are increasingly treated.
Yeah. They're not just simply looked at as being antiquated, they're considered abhorrent. And Kanito, that's another good descriptor. They're demonized. Yeah. The West has basically taken traditional values and said you should not aspire to these. These are actually bad. Again, it's this, the woke modern audience trying to flip the fucking script and say, forget everything that, everything this is actually bad. Trust us, we know what we're talking about. Problem is, the people that matter aren't buying it. Yeah. You've got this one segment that is trying to say, oh, the nuclear family doesn't exist, you shouldn't like it, because they don't want it. It's them trying to, shock of shocks, trying to cram their ideology down their throat, demand that you like it, and demand that you ask for more. And when you say, no, you're fucking stupid, this sucks, I want nothing to do with it, that's when they try to pull out the istophobia shit. And, yeah.
The West sees the norm for 99% of humans' history as a thing that suddenly stopped being normal all of a sudden. Cheer 100.
Yeah. And it's because, and this is largely coming from a generation that grew up with parents that actually probably didn't instill a lot of discipline in them, let them do whatever the fuck they want, and didn't actually teach them about real life, and just said, we'll just let them be themselves. We'll let them explore. We won't ever tell them no. Every one of them's gonna get a trophy because you're all wonderful. That's what happens when you have a generation that grows up and is not told no and is told everything you did is a winner. That's what happens.
As unnecessary or antiquated. This is in spite of the fact that most research shows that these things are critical to developing healthy long-term relationships. A 2019 research report from the Institute of Family Studies found that traditionally minded and religious couples reported the highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction. Other research...
Wait, what did I say? When it comes to relationship quality in heterosexual relationships, high religious couples enjoy a higher... Okay. I'm gonna call bullshit. This I'm calling bullshit now. Religion? Well, for some people that are like hyper religious and they make it a cornerstone for their lives, sure. Writ large, religion means precisely fuck all when it comes to having a strong, healthy relationship with high sexual satisfaction. So, yeah, I'm gonna 100% call bullshit on this one. Cause, what was their sample size? This report, let's see, 11 countries. The report suggests, okay, this isn't, we don't even have facts to back this up. This article says the report suggests this. What? Institute? Okay. Guarantee you. I'm not even gonna chat. If one of you guys would like to look up this website or look up this organization, please feel free to do so. 100%. I'm gonna call this Institute for Family Studies is a religious group. Darren fucking Teat. This is a religious group, a Christian religious group. I guarantee you. Guarantee. And that's why they're citing this report saying that that highly religious couples have high quality relationships. And that it only suggests, they don't even put in facts. They don't even put in statistics. So, there is no link. Literally just Google Institute for Family Studies. I guarantee you it's a religious group. Or that its core foundation is steeped in religion, which is why I'm 100% calling bullshit on this metric right here. Religion? Well, for some couples, it may be a cornerstone. Religion, generally speaking, means fuck all when it comes to a successful relationship. Conservative. Andrea, we know what that's code for. We 100% know what that's code for. So, yeah, this part is bullshit. Yeah. It's bullshit, and the fact that they're saying it suggests and does not even provide factual data. Yeah, you're full shit. You just basically, you have no credibility.
Highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction. Other research has shown that women who engage in promiscuous sex are more likely to have failed marriages.
Yeah, I'm gonna call bullshit on this too. This chart covers women sexually active over the age of 30. Women who had more non-marital sex partners were less likely to have stable marriages. 30% of women with 5 non-marital partners were in stable marriages. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. This I don't know if this is the same one.
Highest level of relationship quality and sexual satisfaction. Other research has shown that women.
No, this is different. This is different. Totally different study on this.
Women who engage in promiscuous sex are more likely to have failed marriages.
Yeah, a woman having more sex doesn't mean that she's gonna be in a failed fucking marriage. Because here's a news flash. A successful marriage does not hinder only on sex. Sex is a part of it. Sex is a factor in the equation of a successful marriage. That's not in dispute. But it's not the only factor. If sex is the only thing keeping a marriage together, then the relationship was doomed in the first fucking place. Seriously. Women who have more non-marital sex partners are more likely to be single mothers. Oh, here we fucking go. Women who have had 5 non... So, this is also probably coming from another conservative think tank who basically thinks, oh my god, Yeah, well, more, well, okay, yeah, you are more definitive, but that's what I was referencing, but I wasn't actually saying it. Okay, I will betcha. These people, notice there's only one PhD in here, and I would question what the PhD is in. This is going to be another group that is probably a very religious leaning group that probably thinks that any woman that has more than one sexual partner outside of her husband out of the course of her life is wrong and will burn in hell. That is my guess. The number of sexual partners a woman has does not dictate whether or not she will have a healthy, happy married life. It has nothing to fucking do with it. Because again, sex is only one part of a happy married relationship. There is, and this may shock these researchers, a very strong emotional compatibility factor that means a hell of a lot more than the sex. Sex is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I love sex. Everybody loves sex. Well, most everybody loves sex, except for the people that are asexual and they've got their own thing to deal with. It's a wonderful thing. It's probably one of the greatest parts of being a human being. But it is not the only thing.
More likely to become single mothers, more likely to get an abortion, and less likely to report personal happiness than women who had 0 sexual partners prior to being married.
Bingo! Bingo! There it is. There it fucking is. Women, don't have sex before you get married, or you're not gonna have a happy. The odds are stacked against you that you're not gonna have a happy marriage. God, yeah. We're going from one extreme to another. And I fucking hate these extremes.
It truthfully turns out that the sexual revolution and free love were an utter disaster. But in spite of this, most of Western society continues to double down on normalizing promiscuity. Fortunately though, things aren't all bad just yet, as surveys do show that people say that those with more than 2 past sexual partners are undesirable for long-term relationships. The problem
God. Okay. Alright. Oh my god, I don't even know where the fuck to begin with this. Yeah, I do think I do think I'm doing a terrible job of trying to express my point. I'm just like my brain is so fucking cooked on this right now. I do think I'm doing a very terrible job of trying to say what I'm trying to say. Yeah, well, it's the bottom line is they're trying to they're taking the humanity. They're taking the humanity out of the relationship. They're trying to boil it down to pure biology when it's not simply pure biology. Yeah, you guys were mentioning the pair bonding studies. Okay. That doesn't take emotions. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to say out tonight. I'm probably saying it horribly because like I said, this is cooking my brain. I'm probably thinking way too deeply into this, and I'm not getting my point across properly. Which is frustrating me, and that's why I'm probably tripping all over myself trying to explain this and doing a very terrible job of it. A terrible job of it.
We know what you mean, Ember. Your point, however, is only valid in an idealistic world when we humans are deeply flawed and still act on instinct. Cheer 100.
Yes, we do act on instinct. We do. Like, instinct is, biological instinct is still there. I am not discounting biological instinct. Not at all. But there is a balance. There is a balance there between biological instinct and human intellectualism and emotions. We as humans have evolved beyond the baser needs of biology like other animals. So emotions and intellectualism are factors in here that I don't think are getting the proper credit that they are due when it comes to compatibility and maintaining relationships. And there's also societal factors at play here as well that we have not even touched on. Because it's not only biology, it's not only emotional, it's not only intellectual, it's also the societal influences all around us that are also factoring in. So trying to boil down relationship stability, trying to boil that down strictly to biology is it feels like it's disingenuous to me. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that just trying to boil this down to biology is disingenuous as a whole. I think in the very clumsy way, that's what I've been trying to say. It's the only hard fact, but it is not the only factor. It is what I'm trying to say. And holy fuck, I need to just shut up because I'm falling. My brain's getting twisted trying to express my point, and it's getting all mixed up in what I'm trying to say.
The problem is that Americans report having between 4 and 7 past sexual partners. This has created an extreme gap between the kind of person people want a long-term relationship with and the kind they can actually choose from. Furthermore, the average age people first report having sex is 17. Now add in the fact that data shows marriage has a negative correlation with number of sex partners. That is, the more sex partners a person has, the less successful their marriage is likely to be. All of these things have come together to create a relationship wasteland in the West. It's created a situation where the average person has to choose between settling for a spouse with many past sexual partners, which they don't want, or dropping the idea of marriage entirely. A horrible situation through and through.
And I just realized something. We went off on this huge fucking tangent on discussing this entire thing. We went way off of anime here. Of why people like anime girls so much. Because I will point out, not every anime, or even popular anime girls, are chaste and only, only sleep with one person who is their husband. A lot of anime girls that people like are, as categorized in this video, promiscuous and have had many partners. I mean, the point that's being made here kind of falls a bit flat. Because a lot of the most popular anime girls are not chaste and virginal. So the whole thing is kind of falling flat here.
Meanwhile, rather than trying to reverse this, Western media has led the charge in exacerbating this crisis. Studio executives practically fall over themselves to put forward female characters that are sexually promiscuous and masculine. As an example, in the show Game of Thrones, nearly every single female character is written to either be involved in numerous sexual relationships or to have no interest in men whatsoever.
Okay, point of note here, with the exception of the last season of Game of Thrones, the people behind the people of the show didn't write. This all came from George R. fucking Martin. Yeah, like, how the fuck are you gonna use Game of Thrones as as your talking point for this? The writers at HBO didn't create these storylines and these characterizations. Goddamn George R. Martin did. One guy. They just translated it from book to series. So, your point is kind of invalid there. And guess what? A lot of people love Game of Thrones. So...
Other shows that focus on teenage relationships are rife with premarital sex, abortion, homosexuality, and marriage being treated as a backwards institution. So with both Western media and society increasingly abandoning both feminine and monogamous traits, anime has done the opposite. It's now effectively one of the last reliable places young men can look to find idealized female portrayals who would make good wives. Thus, it shouldn't be surprising at all that it's garnered a large male audience. Now, a lot of anime fans may
Yeah, I feel like we did too, Atanashi. I'm feeling like we got seriously debated about this. Well, no, it didn't take him 12 minutes to get back to anime. It took us 4, because in our little inner stream discussion here, we went wildly off topic. So, I won't fault him for taking that long to get back to anime. We were kind of the causes of that. But one thing I will point out here is what I'm noticing here especially
We all know
in his
that Ember
examples,
is the best waifu.
Thank you. And the majority of his examples are anime that are innocent. They're innocent slice of life animes. And a lot of the anime characters are innocent. He's not utilizing anime characters as examples in some of the darker or more, shall we say, adult anime. I've noticed he's conveniently avoided that. I don't know if he use all of his examples that he's been showing. But most of it, not all of it, most of it have been cutesy, slice of life. He did mention it, Yard Dog, but everything he's talked about it. Everything he's talked about how he's saying why anime, the reasons why people love anime so much, he's very specifically highlighting cute, innocent slice of life. And is not talking about darker animes, more adult animes, more fan servicey animes that people love equally as much, sometimes more. You know, people like the slice of life ones, but people, like, fans of anime, they like the slice of life. They like the more adult, edgier, darker animes much, much more. He's included a few shots for them, Zed. Yeah, and that's why I said, like, okay, he mentioned them, but it hasn't been his focus. So it feels like I feel like we're getting a very skewed viewpoint on his impression with anime.
recognize this fact implicitly, but not actually be cognizant of it. There are, after all, many anime fans who are degenerate, and I think part of the reason these people exist is because they were never able to recognize what makes anime girls unique in the first place. And while I'm sure someone can find exceptions to what I've said in this video, they are just that, exceptions. To draw things to conclusion, the anime industry produces some beautiful works that we, as Westerners, can learn from. None of this is to say that anime is perfect or that Japan is a perfect country. All things have their flaws. But what's clear here is that anime's female portrayals show feminine nature in a positive light that feminist media never can or will. In essence, it exposes the current cultural crisis in the West in both media and public attitudes. When a huge portion of your male population has to look to a foreign medium to find virtuous female portrayals, that's a serious problem. I ultimately hope this video helps people see the value of virtue and the void that's left when people turn their back on it. Now, there may be some things I forgot to mention, so feel free to leave your views in the comments.
Oh, we got you baited.
And if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell, as it really helps me to make more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
We got you baited. 100%, we got you baited. This whole video was just an excuse for him. Yeah. This whole video was just so he could basically espouse about the virtues of don't have sex before marriage.
Cheer 100. I don't agree with his take, but I thought it would bring out a good discussion.
Well, your dog, it certainly got us talking. That's for sure. When his initial points, I thought was going to be like that the characters in anime actually act like girls. And I was on board with that. And then he went way off and started trying to... He went way off to basically try and preach about how women that have multiple partners won't be happy in marriage, and... Fuck.
I think that the biological factor wouldn't be such an issue if the West still taught a good overall moral code to stick to, and most people don't have hard set. They are very quick to change on a dime. That's the point he should have made. Cheer 100.
And Brevin, that's the point that I was trying to make. Is that it's not only the biological factor that needs to be brought into equation, it's having, as you said quite properly there, a good moral code. And that kind of thing is not being taught in the current couple of generations, generally speaking. And I think that I got myself so twisted up that was probably the exact point that I was trying to make. But I got myself so fucking twisted up trying to try and interpret what was being said here that I just fell all over myself and completely got lost in the goddamn sauce. But that is exactly it. It's biology is a factor, but it's not the only factor. And yeah, and oh God. Yeah, your dog, I think he was. Oh God, that was painful.